Welcome to Sound Bites. I'm your host, Jennifer Chandler, and I'm talking with Brittany Cabigo, the owner of SOB Hospitality Group. She and her husband, Ed, own restaurants such as SOB and the liquor store. Ben Wiley, who is SOB's Hospitality Beverage Director, is also joining us. This week, we'll talk all about holiday cocktails. Sound Bites is the Daily Memphian's weekly food, drink, and dining podcast. You can tune in on WYXR Radio every Thursday at 11 a.m., or listen wherever you get your podcast, iTunes or Spotify, or listen at dailymemphian.com. If you are listening on WYXR, up next you can listen to Sidebar with Eric Barnes. But let's get started talking about all things holiday cocktails. Brittany and Ben, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
For everyone listening, if they have not been to the liquor store on Broad Avenue, the original one, during the holiday season in the past few years, you have been missing out because they transform the restaurant into like a winter wonderland with a miracle holiday pop-up. And so can you guys tell us what this is and how long you've been doing it?
So Miracle is a big Christmas pop-up. It's nationwide, but we're the only one in Memphis that does it. The Toros before us did it for several years, and we just continue the tradition ever since Ed and I took over. So this is our second year with us doing it. But yeah, it's like Jennifer said, it's a huge pop-up. The decor is meant to be kitschy and over the top and in your face. And then paired with that is seasonal cocktails, lots of fun names and mugs, and just Christmas all in your face.
It is Christmas all in your face. And so is there a theme this year to the decor, or did someone help you do this?
So last year, Lindsay Julian helped decorate, and then this year she didn't quite have the capacity, but she did kind of get plans together for us, and we did very similar as last year. This year we have a big wreath wall that she made those for us, so she still kind of helped.
And what's her business called again?
She Builds Things.
She Builds Things. I think I remember it being kind of a fun name.
Yeah, she's great, and she still met with us again, did the plans, helped do some stuff off-site, and then the actual installation of everything, just kind of our team just got together and all hands on deck and made it happen.
Yeah, we turned it into a winter wonderland. So basically every little spot in the kind of old liquor store is going to be filled with little like knickknacks and trinkets, and everywhere your eye catches, you're going to have something that's kind of Christmassy. Goal is to like layer on top of it. So even when you go in the bathroom, you'll see stuff.
That's awesome. It's
awesome.
Awesome.
Garland.
It is. It totally puts you in the holiday spirit. I was telling Brittany and Ben when we first got here, before we went on air, that it is a tradition that I like to do with my girlfriends every year. And now that my daughters are over the age of 21, I took them for the first time last year, and we had a really great time. And it's a great way to kick off the holiday season. And so every year, traditionally, this kicks off the weekend after Thanksgiving, or the weekend of Thanksgiving holiday, correct?
Correct.
And it runs through
December.
Through December for the whole month.
Right.
It builds up week after week. You just see lots of people coming in, kind of like as the holiday cheer kind of levels up, we level up with the restaurant. So it's fun.
So, and you always have fun cocktail names. I mean, there was one where you think you're Yippee-Ki-Yay, and there is...
Yeah, we have a lot of different cocktails. The Crooked Antler, Christmasaurus, they're all coming like little kind of like, think tiki mugs, but they're with, Santa's hat, or, a T-Rex with the dress as a reindeer. All these kind of, it's fun. And it'll all have garnishes that'll match this. And so all those Christmas flavors, but lots of like intricate cocktails and lots of spirits. And there's something for everything, for everybody.
Do you have a favorite, either one of you, on this year's menu?
I like the simplicity of the Christmasaurus. It's kind of just like a play on a cosmopolitan with the vodka, cranberry, citrus. And is it that one served in that? I remember in past years there has been a very cute mug that has had a dinosaur. Is it served in that?
So the Christmas, your drink is served in an up glass Cosmopolitan. It's going to be like a nice, like kind of traditional cocktail.
Okay.
The Rudolph's Replacement is the one that comes in a T-Rex mug.
Okay.
So you can
Rudolph's
also purchase these.
I love that.
Yeah. And there's a new mug this year that's also dinosaur themed, but the T-Rex is still in play.
I like tiki drinks, so the Yippee-Ki-Yay mother. It's going to be mine with like overproof rum. It's a boozy cocktail, but it has a little like flavored, like we do like acid-adjusted pineapple and some kind of purplish coconut orgeat. So it's kind of a fun over-the-top drink, but it'll get you in the Christmas spirit.
It'll get you, definitely. It sounds like when you said overproofed rum. When you talk about cocktails and holiday cocktails, obviously this is a great example that you can kind of do whatever you want. It's not just eggnog. I mean, I love myself a good eggnog, but you can do so much more. And so kind of when people are thinking about serving holiday cocktails at their house, if they're having people over, they're entertaining, can we kind of talk about some tips to kind of give people to think about when they're kind of planning a menu?
Yeah, absolutely. So and people are really into hacks these days, and I always think that like you're looking for time, you're looking for something to kind of like be simple, but also you want something that's easy, and you're kind of bringing a lot of people over. So if you're having a holiday party, I'm a big fan of punches. I think that way, you can serve people. You're not relegated to a bar mixing every individual drink. So with Christmas, you can kind of go that level. So I always like to think that you're drinking with your eyes first. And so you have a punch bowl, big punch bowl, put like lots of Christmas colors into it and flavors. For me, like a French 75 is a nice way that you can kind of like make a big one and make it festive for that color. So maybe you have some gin that you like, lemon juice, maybe cranberry or pomegranate, and then sparkling wine. But you're also putting maybe cranberries or pomegranate seeds into the punch. You're doing like, you can make it festive, have a little rosemary in there if you want something a little bit more like aromatic. But you have a lot of different ways you can go with that. And then that way you can really enjoy, the actual party instead of just being, relegated to the bars. The second thing I always do is also, this is something I would do if I had like, some time and wanted to make a syrup for maybe that month and have it all ready to go. So I think of like Christmas flavors or holiday flavors. I think of like, actually chai tea has those kind of winter notes.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
And you can make, so I would keep a bottle of chai tea syrup in the fridge and it lasts a month, and you can make a lot of different cocktails with that. So you could, very easily to make, look up recipes online. I'm sure there's a lot out there, but really you're brewing like an overly strong tea and then making a simple syrup out of that. So brew like 20 tea bags in a quart of water, and then add a quart of sugar and bring it together, and you kind of have a little syrup that you can bottle it, put it in the fridge and make an old fashioned with it. Or you can make like, again, it's pretty versatile. So maybe make it with a little cider, a little bourbon, and a little chai tea syrup. Really easy to make, but you could do those things and have holiday ready to go.
I love that idea. I actually every year, and I did it this past Thanksgiving. At Thanksgiving, I always grab 2 bags of cranberries, and while I'm making my cranberry relish for the table, I also make a cranberry orange simple syrup that I put in a mason jar, and again, it lives in the fridge for the entire month of December. It starts off with Thanksgiving holidays, and I just put a little bit of it into champagne, and again, it adds like a fun kind of twist to a champagne, a holiday-ish kind of feel to it. And so I think that people don't realize that how easy a simple syrup can be, and how versatile it can be, and the fact that it can be something you make in advance.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just those little things that add up to a good winter spirit cocktail. And there's a lot of different ways you can go, and it's very kind of enjoyable, but it makes it almost easier to kind of get in the spirit.
Can we go back to the punch bowl for a minute?
Absolutely.
So what are your thoughts or tricks on, because I do agree with you that a punch bowl is a great way to entertain, especially these days, in this day and age, you can find like at a thrift store, a really cool, like vintage one for probably inexpensive with all the little cups and glasses. And, but if you want to keep it cold, you obviously, I'm assuming ice is not the way to go. And, I've seen people do like what they call them, the ice ring molds when you were talking about that, when you were talking about the cranberries and putting maybe rosemary in there. But you shouldn't just use water, should you?
No. So there's a couple ways you can approach it. One is you could, if you're industrious and have some time and thoughts, put a small cooler of ice, fill it with water, and make a big ice cube. One big ice cube, you could do that. That's a little bit more time consuming. The easiest way for me is to make a cold punch, make it in the punch bowl, have the ice on the side. That
Okay.
way you're kind of like able to kind of like dictate the level of like
So it
ice
doesn't
and
get watered
down
down.
exactly over time. So you're making it really pretty. They can have a nice like pretty ladle that usually comes with a punch bowl, and just serve it into a glass with ice, whatever festive cups you have, mugs, but that's usually an easy way to keep it cold. If you're doing a hot punch, I get like, honestly, we do a lot of slow cooking. So anything in a crock pot, you can make put some cider in a crock pot, put some spices in there, throw a bottle of bourbon, and you've got a crock pot and,
I love that idea. And maybe you could take a note from if you visit liquor store this month and see all the decorations, and you could somehow put something around your crock pot to make it look like make it look more, put wreaths on it.
Oh, there's so many things.
That you can do. But I like that idea. I hadn't thought about that. Using something you already have in your own house. And I do love a warm apple cider, especially when it's cold outside.
Yeah, there are a lot of like non-alcoholic options too. I know very popular these days. We have some obviously at the liquor store, but again, think about those flavors and how they kind of like translate. So, hot chocolate, or maybe you're doing like a kind of like a version of eggnog. You can really infuse spices into like creams and milk and get that kind of flavor without all the, you don't always need booze to have a good time,
Yeah.
I think sangrias are another good festive holiday thing. I made one for Thanksgiving, just like cinnamon sticks, apples. I think it's easy to just throw in seasonal fruit. You could do a cranberry orange sangria.
I love that
I
idea.
think that's another fun, good
And
crowd
it can be
pleaser.
just served in a pitcher and make it easy for yourself.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other tips you have for us, Ben?
Well, so I always look for again things that are easy to do. Maybe that spirit that you bring to the holiday party. A lot of people I've talked to recently and kind of enjoy showing off the maybe not traditional like gifts to a party. So when you show up to a holiday party, maybe bring a bottle of digestif, like an Amaro. Those are very popular these days. There's a lot of good wintertime spirits that you can drink maybe after a meal, after you've eaten too much. You can always have like a little digestif. I think of our Cynar or Zucca Amaros. They're kind of traditionally served in Italian after dinner to kind of like help with digestion. The other thing that I'm going to be kind of I always love having in this time of year, and it's a little bit more esoteric, but it's fun to have. I think of like the Alps. So I think of like a big thing of hot chocolate, but you spike it with chartreuse, which is a green.
Oh.
Like it's served in. There's some apocryphal stories, but it's always like served in skiing. You think of like you just walked into the chalet. You have these spirits made by monks. Chartreuse is a little bit hard to find these days, but you can find some Genepi is called like that kind of spirit. And those cordials you can find in any like Joe's liquor store or whatever. But they would have those alternatives. And you just put a little bit into your hot chocolate and it has all those like Christmas flavors.
So for people who don't know what chartreuse is, and I have a funny story about it, can you explain what the flavor is?
So, it's kind of hard to explain because it's yellow and green. Green, I'm talking about green. It's made by monks. They don't speak to each other. It's cloistered. It's a whole big thing. There's a lot of good stories and better people than me can talk about it. But it tastes, there's like 113 different botanicals made in like, they said the 1600s. I've talked to a lot of people about it. But it tastes for me, it tastes like minty, like herbaceous, all of these flavors at once. It's fun. You can also light it on fire, which is a different thing that I've done before, but don't too much.
It's very, very strong. Well, my funny story was like 100 years ago when I went to culinary school in France. We went, and I don't know if you can still tour the monastery, but we went to the monastery. And when you talk about, and the fact that they have this like so potent of an alcohol that they make, and it's like silence there.
Yes.
It's so not what you would think.
They can speak one day a year, and they actually don't have anything to say to each other when they can't speak. It's basically, think about things that, I'm a cocktail nerd, but also history major, and I love this kind of part of any spirits, and this might bore your listeners, but it was, think about the stuff that was kind of available in the garden in the 1600s. So your monks, you're having everything. It started as a medicinal products, and as many spirits did. So they actually, if you go to France, you have these little elixirs that they give to you when you're sick. And so this was always like a medicinal problems. If you had kidneys, they would actually, serve you a little chartreuse. So that was my kind of introduction to it, and it's a popular little thing, and I carry it at every bar that we have.
Yeah, and I love that flavor because the flavor is so different, and it is very herbaceous is the word to say. It's not like anything you've ever had before, and you're not going to drink a whole big glass of it, but it does add this. Really, there's so many layers in the flavor, and it does add something different. And so I'm excited to see that people like you are bringing that to the forefront of menus and bars here in Memphis, and then and experimenting with it. And I say, anyone, give it a try.
Yeah, there's a again, I feel like I'm stunting for chartreuse, but so when they got kicked out of France once upon a time, they went to Spain, and they had different herbs, different botanicals at their leisure. So they made a yellow chartreuse, which is a little bit lighter in proof, a little bit more honey notes to it, and it's also a very nice product to use. Maybe not 112 proof like the green chartreuse, but it's a little bit lighter and can be substituted in sometimes too.
It's very interesting. You're listening to the Daily Memphian Soundbites with me, Jennifer Chandler. Today we're talking with Brittany Cabigo, the owner of SOB Hospitality Group, and Ben Wiley, SOB Hospitality's Beverage Director. If you're tuning in on WYXR, keep listening for the Sidebar with Eric Barnes after this. If you're listening through your podcast app, be sure to subscribe. You can also find our other Daily Memphians podcast, The Sidebar with Eric Barnes about art, culture, and more, Grizzlies Pod with Drew Hill and Chris Harrington, Behind the Headlines Podcast Edition, On the Record, an occasional political podcast with Daily Memphian legend Bill Dries. We've been talking all about holiday cocktails, and I am so excited to go check out the Miracle Pop-Up going on at the liquor store. It's only at the Broad location, correct?
Correct.
And so there are now 3 liquor stores. Two liquor stores. There's the one on Broad, and then there is the one on Mendenhall and Poplar. But there are 3 SOBs. That's the right, correct. And so where are all the SOB restaurants? Because that's your original restaurant.
Right. We are downtown on Main Street in East Memphis off Sanderlin, and then the new Schilling Farms development in Collierville.
So SOB opened many, many years ago on Main Street, south of Beale, hence the name. So when did it open?
We were in August of 2009, and then we were in that space for quite some time, and then in 2021 we expanded across the parking lot, so basically to our neighbor, just to a bigger space, and that was about 3 or 4 years ago.
So for those who have not been to an SOB, can you kind of tell us what the theme? It's a gastropub kind of theme originally, but now it's kind of evolved, I think, a little bit more into a more traditional restaurant.
Right. Yes, I feel like back in 2009, it was definitely gastropub vibes, more of kind of like that bar atmosphere, but with chef-driven food. And then, I feel like we've kind of evolved a little over the years, but definitely full service. I feel like I always tend to think of like New American style, craft cocktails, full wine list. I feel like all 3 of our locations are very different, though, a little bit different. Same menu, but different vibes.
They do totally feel different.
Yes.
So there's different decor, and it just has. You can see that they're all the same restaurant group, but they definitely do have interesting little differences between the 3.
Right. They have their own little personality for sure.
So what are some of the signature dishes that you guys serve at SOB? I know what they are. Well, I know what my favorites are, but
General Tso's cauliflower for sure.
So that's what I was going to mention.
Probably one of our more popular appetizers. Duck fried rice has been around for a while. That's also very popular. I feel like our burger gets a lot of credit. I feel like I know a lot of people that it's like their favorite burger in the city. Our Gouda mac and cheese is a crowd favorite for sure. Our bread pudding's been around for some time and on diners, drive-ins, and dives back in the day. But
when we have a Philadelphia egg roll
Yes.
that kind of does a little bit with the chipotle aioli. So we have a lot of those are kind of our signature dishes, and then we always are playing around with them fringes. So we do a lot of different flavors. We kind of we'll always have a little backbone of like a little bit Asian inspired kind of tangential cuisine mixed with a little Southern flair. So I tend to think that that's the easiest way to describe it. With the cocktails, it's similar. We'd like to do something that has like a little bit for everything. We always keep some local spirits. We love, Blue Note and Old Dominic. And so we're always going to have something that's going to represent a little bit of Memphis and kind of play around on the edges there. So it's fun.
Yeah. And then the liquor store. So you bought the liquor store. Which year was that you bought it from?
2023, last year.
Okay. And soon after you bought it, you opened a second location.
Yes, that was already kind of in the works. We knew if we went through with that acquisition that we would open a second. So we kind of already had our eyes on that space and we're in the works with that landlord. So that opened later that year, later in 2023.
July, I think. August. Yeah,
You remember vividly.
It was a big year last year. So we definitely. It was it's that tropical. They opened it, and we wanted to kind of carry that tradition.
Right. It has that Miami kind of like pink and green vibe.
Yeah, like a tropical breakfast spot that has those like cool vibes. We definitely loved carrying on that tradition and kind of added with the recent menu change, kind of like some of Ed's background and his kind of cooking. We've added some ube flavored pancakes, and there's a couple. Those two stores, much like the SOBs, have different personalities as well. We have a full service coffee bar at the East location, which let us have a little bit more freedom because it's a little bit bigger. The original location is small, intimate, really cool, cozy vibes, kind of like reflects Midtown, and this is a little bit more East Memphis. So, but they're all like great breakfast places, and again, also have fun cocktails that are like more geared towards like kind of drinking all day breakfast style. So, a lot of spritzes.
A lot of spritzes, a lot of fun things. Do you have coffee cocktails there?
We always have something with coffee in it.
Yep.
We had when we first started, we did like an Irish, like kind of like a frozen Irish coffee. With ours, we're going to always have a good espresso martini. And so, the bartenders have a lot of fun down there too. And so the ones in the Broad, obviously with the liquor store pop-up, they're going to be knowledgeable and doing all that fun and doing all of that stuff. But we always are kind of changing stuff up, making it a little bit seasonal, but also we'll have, again, coffees, teas, like those kind of breakfast inspiration.
One of the things I want to take a step back with that you mentioned that you have on the bar at SOB is some of the local alcohols that you can buy, because I think that would be a fun thing to have if you were having a holiday party, to maybe focus on some of the local spirits, because over the past few years, there's a lot more available than there used to be.
Absolutely.
So there's Blue Note that does bourbon.
Bourbon and rye. Yeah.
And then there is also Old Dominic.
Old Dominic that has a kind of they just released some more bourbons they've been carrying, and kind of they also do a vodka, gin, bourbon, bottled and bond. They do a couple special releases, Hooling Street. Then you have Jaguar, which is locally owned.
The tequila.
Which is great. Macaulay does a great job with that, and we carry those, the Reposados. Waymar Gin is another gin that's just kind of come on the market, and they have gone down the rabbit hole of what gin can be, and it's very fun when they have like sherry, or I don't want to misspeak, but they have a lot of like extra gins that have a lot of different flavors. So they have 4 expressions of theirs, and again, go to your local liquor stores. They'll talk to you all about it. But we always try to keep something like those spirits. I think that's also a good gift.
Yes, a great one.
So I will always love like seeing those and having those bottles to play with. They're not, they're very reasonably priced and a cool thing to kind of go down. I feel like I'm talking a lot, but go down to the distilleries. And then, I always say go to your local brewery too. We got like 9 or 10 of them, and Souls and Spirits is fun. Well, we're gonna have like a lot of cool things in Memphis, and that's really fun to see.
Cocktails and beer. Can you, do you ever play around with
Oh, yeah, of course.
beer and things? Is there a holiday thing we could do with beer?
I'm sure. Well, there are actually a lot of, they'll have seasonal releases. So we got a stout on tap we're about to put on downtown. And so we'll definitely kind of do like a beer tail, like, kind of make that work for us. And then again, like, you can always ask us, like I'm usually in the downtown or some location, And if we have time, I'll love to show off what we can do.
That's great. That's great. I guess, can I ask you each, what is your, like when you go out to dinner, what is your favorite cocktail?
I'll let Brittany go first because I got too many, but I'll have to think about it.
I guess cocktail, like if I'm not ordering wine, I've been on a big gin kick. So I would say like a French 75 or like a bee's knees or something like that.
Oh, I do like a bee's knees.
Yeah.
Those are kind of fun.
Refreshing.
Yeah.
And I've even made one at home before that's festive, kind of like you said, make a syrup, put it in the fridge and do like a cranberry honey syrup and use that in it instead of
Oh, I love that idea.
just honey. And it's a fun color.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
the red.
it's probably what I'm on right now.
Depends on how much I want to abuse the bartenders during this time of year. I kind of like the smokier spirits and during the wintertime because it kind of warms you up faster. Some of your mezcals or scotches. I'll ask them if they look like they want to make it or can listen to me babble. I'll do like a last word mixed with mezcal. And that's my kind of fun thing. That's a pretty easy. Last word is made with the chartreuse we were talking about, traditionally with gin, lime juice, and maraschino liqueur. But it's really easy to substitute mezcal for it instead of gin. And it's it really does have everything that I want in a drink.
Okay, I'm gonna have to come order one from you.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so everyone knows, if they want to go and check out the Miracle pop-up going on, the holiday pop-up going on at the liquor store, and it's only on the Broad location, what are the hours of operation?
We are Wednesday through Saturday all day, so 7 a.m. to 9 or 10 p.m., depending on if it's weekday or weeknight, and then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is just breakfast, lunch.
Okay.
So give the staff a little bit of break on those nights.
The cocktails are going to be available all day.
Yes.
Every time we're open. But again, try to get in early. We do have limited seating, and during especially the week or two before Christmas, it does tend to be a long wait. So we don't want to anybody to miss out. So try to get in, plan accordingly.
Yep, because we don't take reservations.
We can't do big group, and we can't do really big groups. It's a small space. So sit at the bar, sit on the table, enjoy yourselves, but know that that it is a thing that come in and with 3 or 4 friends and enjoy every cocktail.
Yeah, it's a very fun tradition, and I'm so glad that it is here in Memphis and that you guys are doing it because, as I said, it really is a great way to feel like you're kicking off the holiday season. That's all the time we have for now. I just want to thank you for joining us today. You can tune in on WYXR Radio every Thursday at 11 a.m. or listen wherever you get your podcast, iTunes or Spotify, or listen at dailymemphian.com.